holy crap, they don't make them like they used to. Welcome everybody back to Re-Reviewed. I'm Jake, and today we are looking at the 1996 absolute classic Independence Day, directed by Roland Emmerich. All right, let's get right into it here. The effects in this movie, wow. The absolute selling point of this movie were all of the amazing miniature effects. Jurassic Park had come out in 1995, so everyone was expecting digital is the future. Digital effects are going to be the way the movie industry is going, and Roland Emmerich and his crew just came in and said, nah, we're doing this practically, it's still going to look good. And by God is he right. Those destruction scenes are incredible. You really feel that like ka-trunk and that ka-chunk, and you feel explosion, and it's deep and it's I don't know, that's the best way I know how to describe it. Also too, the fire effects, when you do it like that, when you actually film something blowing up, I don't know, it just seems like brighter to me, and it seems like hotter. I know it's a stupid way of putting it. Corridor Crew, like right here, they always explain it like that on like their VFX Artist React show, which I love. Seeing that like actual real practical effect is so cool to watch. It makes this movie timeless, it really does. This movie's 30 years old, or it is 30 years old, and it still just looks incredible. You know who's also great in this movie? Will Smith. Will Smith had an absolute bumpin' 90s, okay? 1995, he does Bad Boys. 96, he does this. And then in 97, he does Men in Black. Oh my God, what a superstar. I feel like he's still young and like kind of figuring it out, but he's a little freaking pocket rocket, dude. This was definitely his Top Gun movie that he was getting into. Super cool to watch him just running around and like, dude, that scene where he just runs up, shit talks an alien and goes, and punches him in the face. Incredible. I'll watch that all the time. All right, let's talk about one of the most universally loved parts of this movie. Bill Pullman as the president. Probably the greatest movie president. I don't know about like decision making, but just like what you would want to have as like your president. Fantastic, man. That speech still to this day gets me every time, man. That's why I watch this movie every year around the 4th of July week. It's the perfect like midweek thing to watch leading up to your 4th of July weekend plans, just to get you in the right mood, man. Just that sentiment of having like, oh, this is everybody's Independence Day from now on. It's awesome. It's super fun. You can always get behind that. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I feel like practical effects these days, because of like a lot of sentiment for movies like this, it seems like practical effects are kind of coming back these days, especially with, I don't know if anybody saw, well, nobody saw this, but The Mandalorian and Grogu that came out, which that's a review for another time. I'm not talking about it right now. But in that movie, there's a lot of practical effects that go on, especially with the puppeteering, the little ships. They were filming stuff in the old way. To be honest, I think it looked a lot better. In some areas, I still think, you know, I don't think CG looks bad. I just think bad CG looks bad. There's kind of this resurgence in practical effects in general from just kind of the public. And it's gonna be really interesting to see, because apparently in the Odyssey that's coming out here, Christopher Nolan is really gonna kind of bring back a lot of these practical effects that you used to see in like a lot of like Ray Harryhausen movies from back in the day. So I don't know, I think depending on how that goes, and if people are very receptive to that, I think that this might be the next trend for the next couple of years. We're gonna see a lot more kind of practical effects and model making as we kind of go on in the future, which, who knows? I don't know, maybe that's good or maybe that's bad. This movie's so good that every time I do watch it, I always look up like, oh, what are other Roland Emmerich movies? And I always forget that he's made like two like the kind of the funniest movies ever, which are 2012 and The Day After Tomorrow, which, if I'm being honest, are kind of the same movie. It's in the same echelon, but those movies never hit. But after watching this, for this show here, I will review 2012 at some point. I don't know what it is. The last time I watched this, I watched it coming home from like an 8-hour flight on a plane, and someone gave me food, and I watched it and went, this is a good time. So I'll review that at some point. So to sum up here, yeah, 100% see it. Like, why wouldn't you see this movie? You've had to have already have seen this movie. Watch it again, it puts in a great movie. Here's the rating, see it right there, right there. See, it's really big. It says see it right there. Everyone have a great and safe 4th of July. We'll catch you on the next one.